This is Luke Paulson, the Catholic Conservative, and welcome to the news of the week for July 6th, 2024. And if you enjoy these videos, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. Did Brandon have a cold? After Brandon's train wreck of a debate performance last week, the Democrats have a problem. They have spent the past few years telling their supporters that Joseph Biden is competent and has all of his faculties about him. They were able to hide him during the campaign because of a certain virus, and can usher him out to read from a teleprompter before ushering him out again. However, having to stand on a debate stage next to President Trump was another issue altogether. Officially, the reason for his slow speech, according to some outlets, was that Brandon had a cold. Now, it does not seem as if anyone bought that lie, but some will. Even the pundits on the fake news were able to point out that Brandon was pathetic. And according to Korean Affirmative Action Hire, Brandon was experiencing jet lag, despite spending a week at Camp David. Since President Trump was able to call out Brandon's lies left and far left, the fake news is once again unable to run on the issues, even though President Trump was a gentleman for most of the debate. The Mockingbirds have gone back to just calling President Trump a liar and attacking his personality. Either way, they realize that Brandon is not fit to run again. But with whom will he be replaced? There are a few options. Will Brandon be replaced? From what I can tell, outside of a coup, they have no choice but to let him run. The delegates could choose anyone. They could choose the even less likable cackling Kamala. They could choose Obama, even though this person does not want to leave the comfy life that Barack Obama brought. They could choose Gavin Newsom after spending all that time training him by having him meet with the president of China. They could even go with the witch herself, Hillary Clinton. If I was a betting man, I would say that they will stick with Brandon. However, I would not place any money on some of these airlines anymore. Kicked off United Airlines. A mom, her elderly mother, and her baby were kicked off of a United Airlines flight. Now, this sort of thing happens every day and should not be a surprise. Officially, it was a problem with their luggage, but the mother was recording the whole thing. It turns out that the woman referred to a member of the plane's crew by the wrong pronouns. I do not know if she called a man a woman or a woman a man, but either way it is silly. Once she posted the video online, the airline immediately got her on a new flight. I wonder how many people this Karen got kicked off on other flights before someone called the company out on it. The fact remains that liberals have gotten used to getting their way all of this time. Then, when normal people finally stand up, they are suddenly oppressed. Then occasionally courts will defend the rights of people. Immunity from a protest. The Supreme Court handed a huge win to the office of the president. Ronald Reagan cannot be charged with anything related to the Iran-Contra affair, among other things. George H.W. Bush cannot be charged with anything related to the invasion of Panama, among other things. Bill Clinton cannot be charged with anything related to perjury or lying under oath, among other things. George W. Bush cannot be charged with anything related to his use of torture or acts of aggression, among other things. Barack Obama cannot be charged with anything related to using drone strikes against American citizens, among other things. Joseph Biden cannot be charged with anything related to transferring student loans to taxpayers in direct defiance of the Supreme Court, among other things. And President Trump cannot be charged with anything related to the mostly peaceful protest of January 6th. Justice Sotomayor was none too happy and argued that it made the president a king. And while there is some truth to that, this does not preclude actions unrelated to the job of the office. And this is especially relevant as we now have new evidence against Pelosi in regards to the mostly peaceful protest of January 6th. Pelosi turned down aid. As far back as January 11th, just 5 days after the mostly peaceful protest of January 6th, we learned that requests for the National Guard were turned down 6 times during the riots from Black Crimes Matter. So it would make sense that Pelosi would turn down the National Guard when the people are scheduled to be led into the Capitol building. According to President Trump, he offered Pelosi the National Guard, but she turned them down. The fact checkers are pointing out that only the president has the authority to send in the National Guard and Pelosi had no authority. The fact remains that the protesters had to be let in, and even Sky News Australia is admitting that the people were let in. When it comes to the actions of the deep state.
I love it when a flag comes together.
However, there was much less of a plan in Uvalde. Uvalde police chief charged. The Uvalde police chief, who botched the rescue of the children during the school shooting in 2022, has been indicted. This is good news, but the inciting incident never should have happened. I did not doubt at the time that someone gave the stand down order to the officers. And this was clear in that a mother was able to get her children out, but the police would not. Police officers like this give the rest of them a bad name. Certain people just need to die, such as anyone who tries to kill children. By not sending in officers right away, it could have been a lot easier for the deep state to spin the story. Their asset, who was running for the presidency at the time, Robert O'Rourke, just had to sow seeds of dissent within a state that was friendly to the Second Amendment. However, he went too far. It is no secret that he wants to disarm Americans left, right, and center. However, there are a lot more officers that need to be charged. Every officer that let the protesters in on January 6th and gave tours needs to be charged. And every officer who stood by while rioters burned down buildings needs to be charged. Sadly, it is doubtful that these people will ever be charged. However, let us talk about other children that are at risk. 4 Texas children died. Imagine for a moment that no motorcyclist going down the freeway wore a helmet. Immediately, the hospitals would notice a change. The number of motorcyclists that would be admitted to the ER would drop substantially. Of those with helmets, 950 to 1,330 are sent to the hospital. Without helmets, around 516 people at most would be sent to the hospital. If you just look at these numbers alone, you could conclude that these helmets are making the riders less safe. After all, with helmets, motorcyclists are 1.8 to 2.6 times more likely to need hospitalization. Now, what does all of that have to do with anything, you might ask? Well, because Texas instituted a ban on abortions when the child's heartbeat could be detected, more children are born. If more children are born, more children are likely to die from early childhood problems. As such, liberals are saying that because these children are dying of natural causes, the only humane solution is to have the children killed in the womb. That is the single most wretched thing that I have heard in a long time. At least while we have free speech, we can call these lies out. At least we have free speech. For now. Mockingbirds control the media. Last week, liberals got very scared of the ruling by SCOTUS because the court defended the right of people to defend themselves. Now they are celebrating because the court struck a blow to free speech. Liberals are such puzzles. Officially, there is so much misinformation out there that the government, through Operation Mockingbird is here to remind you to never question the official narrative, has to step in and monitor speech. We know that the White House has been giving talking points to the big tech platforms. We also know that the deep state got the big tech platforms to cancel a story about Hunter Biden's laptop before the election. Now, officially, the court ruled that the plaintiffs could not prove a connection. And that is our way to fix this. The only way to stop this is to reform the present situation just as President Trump was trying to do. And we all know what the deep state has been doing to him. Now, I am not going to say that the system needs to be dismantled. That makes me sound like a Black Crimes Matter rioter. Instead, there is a lot of work to be done, and President Trump will continue to lead the way if we re-elect him. However, let us talk some more about cutting down red tape. Start fishing at will. The FAA is one of the many federal agencies that is supposed to protect us from evil corporations. However, as was shown with Boeing, the rules do not apply to the evil corporations. They do, however, apply to mom-and-pop shops as well as to you and I. A case before the Supreme Court was brought by herring fishermen who did not want to have the federal government inspecting their catches. I can see why. It is none of their business. No time to go after the people who are burning down buildings or the terrorists who are crossing the border. But they have time to inspect fishing nets and monitor traditional Catholics. Traditionally, the courts have deferred to the regulators, but that might not be the case anymore. Now courts have the authority to judge to see if the regulation is going too far. Because the regulators do not go after the evil corporations, but only the little guys. Naturally, liberals hate limiting the reach of regulators almost as much as they hate President Trump striking regulations. But the deep state will not give this power up without a fight. Since the deep state has no qualms against taking your liberty and property, they also have no qualms against taking your life as well. Will you be drafted? The NDAA is back in the national dialogue again and the nuances thereof. Specifically, whether or not there will be a draft. And with the modern wave of feminism, will women be drafted? In all likelihood, probably not, even though countless jobs in the military do not require being on the front lines. Either way, the instant that a draft is announced, every feminist in the country will want to be in her kitchen.
Did I say that out loud?
With things around the world escalating, it is not a matter of if the world will go to war, only when and where. Whether it be in Taiwan, Israel, or more manpower to Ukraine. If we have a warmonger president, or one that the nations of the world do not fear, America will have to deal with the consequences. And as the coffins return, Biden will be checking his watch. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion. And do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. But before you go, on the left I have last week's video, but you may also enjoy the video on the right.